So we're here talking about the Magnum i5, and it is a new bike that we just brought into the shop, kind of geared more towards a hybrid lifestyle. So it's a commuter bike that has the ability to hit some light trails and do that kind of thing. Although it's clearly not built for trails exclusively, and it's not built for road exclusively. It kind of hits the middle of the road. It gives you a huge range of gearing in order to really do hill climbs slowly, and we actually showcased that earlier. I mean, one of the steeper hills in Chattanooga, we were actually getting up it really easily. So that's pretty interesting. A lot of e-bikes that we bring into the shop, we see less of a gear spread just because you have that additional torque from that electric motor to make sure that you can do the hill climbing and that you can do speed. It kind of fills in the gaps between the gears a little bit. So it's kind of rare for us to have bikes with a 3/7 gear set. Something that will give you a whole lot of manual control and a whole lot of shifting. And that's great also if you were to run out of battery. Okay, so as for the components on the bike, they're actually segmented really well. Everything is separate. The shifter is not integrated with the brake levers, it's not integrated with the display for the electric system, it's not integrated with the throttle. All of it's separate, all of it's modular, and that really gives this bike a great ability to be upgraded down the line. It's definitely built out of the box to hit a cost, and that's the reason for the cable discs, that's the reason for the shifters that are on it. And honestly, out of the box, the bike is fantastic. We have some concerns about how they're going to wear long term, and the cable discs in particular are going to require some adjustment down the line. They're not self-adjusting in the way that hydraulic discs would be. But for out of the box, and if you can either swap out hydraulic brakes or just maintain the adjustments on them, I think it's a fantastic set of components for the feel that the bike comes with from the factory. The other interesting thing about this bike is that it's a cadence sensor system. So instead of sensing the torque that you're putting through the pedals, it is sensing the cadence at which you're pedaling. And actually, for lower gears and for hill climbs, that's fantastic, because you don't want to have to be putting in the maximum amount of torque in the pedals in order to get the full assist from the motor. So you can drop it into a lower gear and just be kind of freewheeling those pedals and get as much assist as you can get out of that rear motor, which is fantastic. And for a cadence sensor bike, it's extremely well calibrated. So that's one of the things we really like about it. It's also important to note that the brake levers have have sensors in them to cut off the motor assist under braking, and that's really important for a cadence sensor system where you might be doing some light pedaling or something to be changing gears, coming to a stop, and it's really important not to have that motor trying to shove you forward as you're trying to just freewheel and do a downshift. As far as the geometry of the frame, the Magnum's actually a really great thing to ride, both on the road and on some light trail stuff, because the head tube angle actually is pretty relaxed. It's not all that vertical, and that is going to give you more. In cars they call it caster, but essentially you can see it as the front tire's ability to track straight. As you're going, the front tire wants to track as straight as possible, and so having a more caster or a slacker head tube angle enables the bike to not feel twitchy at speed, and especially at slower speeds really is where you feel it a lot more. That means that the bike is less quick to turn in and a little less nimble, but for the kind of bike that it is, I think it's a really solid choice. The other thing is that your weight in this bike is really far toward the rear wheel, and so that actually keeps the front end light and lets you actually pick it up and place it extremely well. For trail riding, or even for slow speed like commuting style riding, where you're just trying to navigate a really tight spot between like a tree and a mailbox or something, you can place the bike where you need to, which is fantastic, and it also keeps more grip on that rear wheel.
Okay! What's up, buddy?